So I moved to Paris. I've been here for a few days. This is my my little apartment that I'm in. I moved over here on a total whim. Like, we could finally travel, so like here I am. So I'm still working on everything, you know, the official Playmaker tutorials, my own videos, obviously, the game dev courses, which, by the way, sign up to the emailing list for the coupons for early bird stuff. Link is in the description. Memories of a Spy, and yeah. So I'm still working on everything, but now I'm just here working on it. This is my little, look at my little work. See, just got my little workstation here. So I could work there, and then, you know, let's get this cute little view. That's not what this video is about. This video is the frequently asked questions video. So, first thing, let's see. So I got a little list here to go off of. What do you think of Bolt? Well, I made a whole video about what I think about Bolt, so you should just watch that video that's in the description. But the gist of it is, I think Bolt is probably more of a training tool than anything for people who are trying to learn C#. And the reason for that is because Bolt is a C# analog. That means that it's kind of like, it's a one-to-one sort of thing. For everything that you would have to type out in C#, you have to do it with Bolt as well. You're still gonna have to learn everything that you were going to learn in C#, but now instead of typing it out, you just click and drag things around. So really the value of Bolt is like sort of a cosmetic thing for people who can't really wrap their head around like typing things out, like the actual text part of coding, and need something that is more visually oriented, that sort of can maybe guide them a little bit better. And that's just something I don't really have any interest in using. I also don't really have too much interest in using C#, but if I had to choose to learn one of them, I would just skip Bolt altogether and just start learning C#. And of course, if you don't already know, like here on this channel, I just use exclusively Playmaker. It's just, you know, again, if you want an answer to why I use that, then go ahead and watch that video, and it'll probably do a pretty good job of explaining why. What is your game about? And this is in regards to Memories of a Spy, the game, my main project that I'm working on. And like, man, I have such a hard time pitching it. I'm just gonna read you this quick thing I wrote right here, which is, it's a first-person game with a lot of systemic and procedural generated elements, NPCs that go about their lives and have their own missions, goals, and relationships with each other. You play as an agent for any one of 5 countries' agencies, like the CIA in America, MI6 in the UK, or the KGB in the Soviet Union. You have one primary objective, which is to steal intel from your rival agency. You also have a secondary objective, which is to uncover and reveal the mole that has infiltrated your agency to steal your top secret stuff. Like I wrote here, it's kind of like Hitman, Among Us, and Dwarf Fortress had a baby, and then that baby really liked playing games and was raised by Brendan Chung and Lucas Pope. You know, I don't know if I'll be able to really reach that. That's a very lofty goal. I'm trying though, I'm trying. So that's what Memories of a Spy is about. Okay, and when is your game coming out? I don't really have a very good answer for that, other than it needs to come out by December 31st of this year at latest. Like, you know, I'm gonna be eating these words, right? Somebody's gonna clip this and be like, remember when he said, you know? But like, I'm already pretty far in development. Like, I think if I really start cutting a lot of fat and I really start distilling it down, I could probably get some semblance of it working and launched by then, and then I could hopefully just spend the year afterwards releasing like patches, you know? So by the end of this year. How do you stay motivated to make your game? So I made a video about that too, which also card or link in the description. But the gist of that is staying excited about my game, kind of keeping in check like what exactly it is that makes me want to make the game. I know it's a very broad way of looking at things, but like it's more of that's more of like a mindset, like a tool, than it is some like easy quick hack. Like, it's still a muscle you have to exercise to keep working. It's something that I'm constantly adjusting and constantly looking out for. You know, I'm never like perfectly all in on my game. If you ever find yourself sort of unmotivated to work on your thing, on your game, then just be aware of that. Like, take notice of that and say, okay, I am unmotivated to work on my game right now. And then you ask, well, why? What is it exactly? Because often you'll find that it's either the thing that you have to work on next is too challenging, maybe, technically, or that it just isn't interesting to you anymore. Whichever it is, you can solve by just changing the thing. You know, it's your game, so you can do whatever you want to change it. So whenever that happens to me, what I do is I just go, okay, so how can I either make this easier so I can program it and it's not some extreme technical challenge, or if it's not interesting to me anymore, I go, can I just remove it altogether? Do I even need it anymore? Does it need to be there? Because if it's not interesting to me anymore, then why should it be there? But if I do tell myself it does need to be there, then I kind of have to ask another question, which is like, well, why does it need to be there? What purpose of it is it serving? And then I just try to change it so it still serves that purpose, but now it has some flavor again, some spice, something to excite me again. So hopefully you could take that sort of very abstract answer and just apply it to whatever you're doing. But I would say, yeah, at the very top of the list is excitement. You know, seriously, go watch the other video because there's so many other things to it. I think really a big thing too is like taking care of your body, like your physical and mental health. So important, so important. How do you learn to make games? So I learned to make games by just having a very clear goal of what I wanted to program. The first ever thing I ever wanted to make was a game that took place in a hotel on New Year's Eve during a big party where all of the guests were going in and out of rooms and you're supposed to find like the murderer or something like that. So I started with, well, how do I make NPCs move randomly from one location to another? So that means like just moving them around and, you know, having them do the little animation of walking, and then when they get to the place they kind of danced or whatever, and I was like, okay, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna figure that out. It was the first ever thing I tried figuring out in Unity and Playmaker. That was about a year ago now. So with a clear goal in mind, you can sort of break it up into chunks and kind of say like, okay, like, you know, how do I make them move from one place to another? How do I randomly choose where they go? How do I give them animations? And now that's 3 separate things I can all just Google, you know, or YouTube or whatever. So I would say that like, I learned to make games by literally just having game ideas that I wanted to make. So like project-based stuff, like that's really kind of how I learned. And I think that's probably like how a lot of people would prefer to learn, is like having a proper project to get through. By the way, I also made a video about learning resources for Playmaker, so that's another video worth watching. So maybe a title card and definitely a link in the description. What program should I use to make games? So I wrote a quick little thing right here because I can end up rambling about this answer way too long. I wrote, my universal answer is going to be Unity with Playmaker. Like, duh, right? There's just no going wrong with it. It's quick to pick up and can be used to make even the most complex of games. There are very few tiny exceptions to this, and it really has more to do with whether or not you want to have a career in which you code games for AAA studios and stuff like that, or you want to do stuff for yourself. But even then, I would say you should go do both. So really, again, this is another question that I think a couple of my other videos can have really much clearer summary answers for. The first one is Playmaker versus C#, and then the other one is Playmaker versus Bolt. So those videos will give you a more in-depth answer to this, and they'll give you really good questions that you can start asking yourself to find out what program would be good for you. Favorite ecosystem add-ons: Pathfinding, ArrayMaker, and the Field of View Collider. Those are 3 amazing ecosystem add-ons that I use the first 2 like all the time. Pathfinding and ArrayMaker, like almost every project. I don't really use that Field of View Collider action anymore because I have Sensor Toolkit, but that Field of View Collider is a really amazing single action. Like, it's a very powerful action. So if you're getting into stuff where you need Field of View Collider stuff, like, definitely check that out. Who is the Hutong man? So the guy who makes the Hutong official Playmaker tutorials, you're looking at him. It seems to go over a lot of people's heads that that's me, like I'm the same guy. Which it's always kind of like really funny to me because it's like, you know, that just reminds me of Superman, where it's like, when he wants to be Clark Kent and like blend into society, he just wears glasses. But then when he becomes Superman, he just needs to like take off the glasses. And it's like, Superman, Clark Kent. It just reminds me of that because it's like, can you not hear that it's my voice? Like, can you not hear that like I'm the same dude? Even the brand of humor, right? Like Hutong, the Playmaker team hired me because like they wanted to put the sense of humor I have in my videos into their official videos. And it's like, you know, so when people are like, that's you? I'm like, bruh, when can we start playtesting Memories of a Spy? This year, I hope this year. Man, you know, like I hate putting things down like that, but yeah, like this year, you'll be able to play test Memories of Spy this year. I don't know which month, but there are only a few months left, so soon enough. Will there be female characters in Memories of Spy? Female presenting? So like if you ever watch my dev streams, it's just like a bunch of dudes in Memories of a Spy, right? It's all these very masculine presenting characters, and the reason for that is just that geometry, just the shape of the body and stuff like that for traditionally feminine and masculine presenting shapes and body figures, right? What was stereotypically the case for people in the 1960s. So just because I have these very one-dimensional stick figure models, I've mostly kept it to the men, but I'm trying to figure out some more elegant solution to either skinning them different or modifying the geometry a little bit to present more feminine character models. What is Gestalt? Gestalt is a game that I was working on a long time ago where I was only doing the modeling and sort of like the directing of it. I wasn't into programming back then. So at the time, my friend was the one doing all the programming. It was a very lofty and ambitious project. Yeah, it never got finished. And I don't know, maybe someday it will. It'd be nice to come back to something like that. If enough people are interested, I would be down to go through all the old assets, like the character designs and the models and the sprite sheets and all that kind of stuff. That could be fun to go through. Can you set up multiplayer with Playmaker? Yes. How do I get better ideas for a game? Man, you just gotta yes and yourself, honestly. Like if you don't know what yes and is, it's like a term in improv. Like so if somebody in improv says like, I have a suit on, but it's like in reality they're just wearing a t-shirt, you don't go like, oh no, you're wearing a t-shirt, what are you talking about? You're doing a fucking sketch, like you're doing improv, so you yes and them. You go, oh, nice suit, cool. Like, where did you get it? So like similarly, you could do that, I think in like all sort of creative fields where it's just like, I mean, just have like fun with it, right? I think the simple answer is like, just have fun with it, yes and yourself. So it's like, just come up with something and just keep running with it. Instead of waiting for it, you could brute force inspiration. You could brute force good ideas. And it literally just takes you coming up with a bunch of shitty ideas. It's like, it's so easy to just come up with ideas. It's a matter of whether or not you like it. And since it's kind of a dice roll, you just have to keep putting out ideas until you find one that you like. Say I will come up with 100 ideas and write down 100 ideas. Somewhere in there, you're gonna find one that you dig. And if you don't, then like, come up with 100 more, because basically, if you just come up with thousands of ideas and you've never liked any of them, then it's probably time to reconsider whether or not you like doing this thing to begin with. How much will Memories of a Spy be when it comes out? So if it turns out to be absolutely, totally amazing, and it's completely bugless and like perfect, then $19.99. You know, that isn't the best case scenario. If I got in all my wish list things and like it was like just a completely solid game, 20 bucks. But more likely, because I'm gonna have to patch it and kind of fix things as they go along, and because I'm just one solo developer trying to make a relatively large game, it'll probably be closer to like 14 bucks. That's kind of what I've always imagined. I was always like, oh, okay, this kind of seems like a $14 game. I would like to get it to a place, you know, if I ever did like add-ons and stuff, I would like to get it to a place where I thought it was worth 19 bucks, but I'm always thinking about like Cuphead. Like Cuphead sold for $19 and it's still like $19, you know? Like that's solid. And that's all like hand frame by frame animated, you know, animation. Like that's bananas that costs $19. So for my game, for the amount of work and effort and just kind of it being the only thing that I think is like it that's out there, I think it would be fair to charge $14 if it was in pretty good shape. Just a quick update, I am gonna be streaming on Fridays. It's probably gonna be a lot of Blender modeling stuff because I have to start putting together the world of Memories of a Spy. Also got some pretty cool new videos that are gonna be coming out, hopefully within the next month or so. It's gonna be kind of a different format. It's gonna be something that I'm pretty excited about putting out. I think you guys will be too. Okay, I think that's it. So take care of yourself, make sure you're drinking lots of water, and eat right. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Make sure you're spending lots of time with the people that you love, all your friends and family, and get in face-to-face time. Maybe the pandemic is preventing you from being around people, but if you get the chance, be around people. Yeah, just be nice to yourself. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.